What's up, guys? So we are 12 weeks out from the 2018 Olympia competition. And I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about pitfalls to avoid when you're getting ready for a show or you're trying to get lean. So a lot of you out there may not even be a competitive bodybuilder or have any intentions to compete. All the same principles apply. I think for those who don't compete, it's important that you still have a goal in mind and a focus to zone in on. So if it's maybe like you're getting ready for summer, that's your competition date, you know? I still say set a time where you're gonna accomplish your goal, because, you know, if you don't, then you can procrastinate and put it off and say, oh, I have more time, I have more time. But it gives you a sense of urgency when you have something to look forward to. When prepping for a show, the first year I competed, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. All I knew is just I wanted to give 110% every day at whatever it was. So once I decided to compete, you know, every day I gave my all in the gym, but the diet I was so confused about. Thank goodness I had a coach. You know, James Brown has been my coach since day one, who's given me all my nutrition advice and whatnot. But I thought adding things like 0-calorie sweeteners and a bunch of syrups and different things like that was okay because it was 0-calorie, right? That is one of the worst things that you can do when you're getting ready for a show, is add a bunch of junk like that into your food. For me, some people can get away with it, adding a little bit of the 0-calorie sweeteners and syrups to their meals. But me personally, if I add a little bit, for one, I start to gain a lot of weight, a lot of water retention, and my physique starts looking really soft and really bad. But two, I think the most important thing is actually understanding that when you're eating these 0-calorie sweetener additives, it's just like sugar almost in the body, to where one, you're not going to be able to lose fat because your insulin's going to rise in your body, because when insulin's present, no fat loss can occur. And two, probably the most important thing when it comes to these sweeteners is the fact that you're going to have more sugar cravings. You're going to want to eat more sweet things. So you're going to start thinking of things like cupcakes, pancakes, you know, cheesecake, whatever your favorite desserts are. You're gonna start wanting that even more in your diet. And on top of that, you're hungry. So the best thing to do is just totally avoid 0-calorie sweeteners and different additives, such as sauces and things like that. So that was the first year I competed. Also the first year I competed, it's good to add a good amount of veggies in your diet, but I was getting to the point where I was so hungry I thought I could eat an endless amount of broccoli and it'd be okay. You know, a few weeks into eating tons and tons of these veggies, we hit kind of a stalling point once again. And my coach realized, you know, that I was eating an excessive amounts of broccoli and other veggies that was just way overboard. It was causing bad digestion, me to bloat a lot, and I know that veggies are mostly fiber, and that's a good thing, but it still is calories, overall calories. And a lot of these veggies have sugars in them naturally also. So just avoid eating too much veggies and too much 0-calorie sweeteners and things like that. That was the first year I competed. I ended up getting my act together, you know, a couple months out from the show, and I just stuck to literally eating exactly what was on the meal plan and doing my cardio and training hard, and things turned out really well. Also, another thing too, guys, a lot of people I've noticed like to cut out their sodium throughout their prep because they want to dry out, they want to lean out, they want to look good all the time, be shredded all the time. But that's not good. For one, that's not healthy. And two, you need that sodium in your diet. Do not take out the sodium in your diet. I don't even take out sodium out of my diet until literally like the day before, but I still keep a little bit in. I mean, you need that sodium for hydration, muscle contractions, everything. Do not take the sodium out, and make sure you're drinking plenty of water. So plenty of water, plenty of sodium together will keep you hydrated, keep the muscles fuller. It is important, it is imperative that you do that, not just for your physique, but for your health as well. First year I did 2 shows where I did back-to-back shows 2 weekends apart. The second year, the first show I did was the first weekend of April. And then I did another show that was mid-June. And the last show I did that year was at the very last weekend of July. So it ended up being about 16 weeks, I believe, 15 to 16 weeks in between the first show and the last show, and also competing in between there as well. What I would recommend to people that's never competed before, don't spread yourself out too far in competitions. You know, if you do a couple shows, that's great. I recommend you do maybe 2 shows, maybe 3, you know, since you're already prepped and ready to go, but make sure they're like closer together within just a couple weeks, or within maybe, I would say, 2 to 6 weeks apart between your first and last show is ideal. Anything beyond that is stretching it, you know. It's not really even good for your health either. I think it's important that we realize that. I would avoid dieting too long, and honestly, if you're dieting that long, your body's not even gonna respond appropriately. Like, even if you're giving 110% every day, your body is just gonna start to fight against you. So make sure your competitions are close together if you decide to compete, and then give yourself a decent break for a while to get healthy again. The third year I competed, last year, once again, I was much more experienced, and I don't think that there was really much that I did that I would say I would avoid, other than maybe like moving around more. Maybe like getting up and going places, and actually just staying focused a bit more, and not zoning too much in on the show and the length of time that you have to get to your show, but yet just kind of living life and giving your all every single day with a positive attitude. I think that's a huge thing I would recommend to you guys is to just live your life and give your all every day, and just be consistent with it, versus thinking that you have so many weeks or so many months before the show is gonna be here, or whenever your goal is to get lean. And then last thing I would recommend to you guys that are trying to get lean or ready for a show is, everybody talks about it's a process, and it is. You need to start off slower and work your way up. So like training, you know, train 5 days a week, maybe 6, and then, you know, the work capacity grows as you get closer to the show. Just like your cardio, you know, you might start off with just low intensity cardio, or if you do high intensity cardio, it might just be 4 or 5 days a week for like maybe 20 minutes at a time. And as you get closer to the show, you start to rev that up a little bit more, a little bit more. You don't want to pull all these levers that you have in your arsenal, such as taking fat burners, loading up the cardio, dropping your calories. Don't do that right away. You want to save as much of that as you can till the end. So start slow, and as long as you're seeing progress, keep at it. And when you hit kind of a stalling point, that's when you pull another lever, and maybe you drop the calories, or add a little bit more cardio, or maybe add another day of training, or whatever it is. That way it keeps things going, and you don't go 0 to 10 right away. You just trust the process and keep going.